Hi there, and we go to learn worms, especially flatworms. And in we must learn in our first classes two main classes. There are class Trematoda. It is about flatworms. First of all, we learn flatworms. And we learn class Trematoda, two classes, and second class, it is a class Cestoda. Cestoda. Okay. For what about class Trematoda? We will learn some species, and these species are trematodes of liver, trematodes of digestive system, trematode of the lungs, and trematodes of the blood. The last one, it is a very danger and cancerogens trematodes. Okay, but for now, we must know what is the main characters of class Trematoda. Class Trematoda. And the main characters of the class Trematoda are first, it is a flattened they are flattened dorsal-ventral. What does it mean? It means that they has a flat body from dorsal to ventral side. Excuse me. For example, human has dorsal and ventral sides, and we are somewhere flat from dorsal to ventral side. It is our arms, it is our head, and this is our body. And our body is flat from dorsal to ventral. Okay, what's the next? The next character, it is bilaterally. They are bilaterally symmetrical. It means that their body, for example, a sponge has no symmetry. Coral has a radial symmetry, and bees or our bodies, human, has a bilateral symmetry. Both sides, left side and the right side, are simple. Okay. Next one, they are unsegmental. They has not specifically segments. For example, Trematodes unsegmental, and Cestodes, their brothers, has a segment. The head segment and segmental body. And for example, a bee has a head segment, has a chest segment. Okay, next one, it is what you must know. Next character of these worms, that is, they have a body cavity. What does it mean? We have a body cavity. This means that inside the body These worms has some holes, and these holes are body cavity. Next, what's the next? Body covered. Body covered of these worms by cuticle with what? Body covered by spines, and this spines looks like on this photo. This is a micro photo of skin of these worms, and this is a cuticle. And this cuticle has a lot of spines, and it is when it is helps for this organism to fixation inside our bodies, for example. What's the next? Organs of fixations are suckers, and these organisms, these worms, class Trematoda, all organism of class Trematoda has two suckers. It is the oral sucker and ventral sucker. And sometimes we can find a genital sucker, but it is not usual. Okay, the next character, it is the digestive system. It is very interesting and simple digestive system. From oral sucker it start a digestive system, and the oral sucker, it is a oral sucker surround a mouth, and sometimes we can name the oral sucker like a mouth. Oral sucker, it is a mouse. Okay, and digestive system of these parasites are very simple and divide into two intestines, and these intestines are blind, and as you can see on this figure. Okay, make a little. Okay, there are two, intestine 1 and intestine 2, and they are blind, as you can see. The next, excretory system. Flame cells derive waste products by the activity of their cilia into collecting tubules to a bladder, and are finally discharged from an excretory pole at the posterior end, and you can find on this end of this on their body excretory bladder and excretory pole. Okay, the next one is the genital system. Trematodes are hermaphrodites, but blood flux, blood suckers, blood trematodes has male organisms and only female organisms. Okay, and genital system on most of organism of class Trematoda has a male system and female system inside one organism. And what is the male system has. Male system has as usual two testes, and vas efferents arises from each testis, and vasa efferentia unite into a vas deferens. And what's the next? The vas deferens dilates into a seminal vesicle and ends in a muscular copulatory organ, the cirrus. The name of this copulatory organ is the cirrus, and which may be enclosed in a cirrus cere. And the cirrus open into the common genital pole anterior to the female opening. Okay, and the next system, genital system, it is a female system, and it complete from uterus, Yole glands, uterus, and what's the next? Ovary, forget the main organ. Okay, and the last one, the last main character, it is a life cycle. What is the interesting in life cycle? All trematodes has two hosts, because the life cycle has two main stages. First stage or second stage, doesn't matter. One of the stages, call it asexual reproduction, include asexual reproduction, and the second stage is sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction happens inside, inside one of the host. It is final host, and inside the final host we can find adult worms like that worm. And asexual reproduction is happen inside intermediate hosts. For example, it is snails, and sometimes it is not only snail, but every time, and it is usual for trematodes, it is the snails, one of the intermediate hosts. And trematodes can have more than one intermediate hosts. Okay. There is all about main characters of trematodes.